What's going on, guys? It's Burnsy here, and today I've got a Magic Find build guide for you guys on Diablo 3. I'm going to show you what to buy, the gear and stuff, what exactly you need. The budget, it's at the most it'll cost 3 mil, which I know is really good for a lot of players. Getting to 300% Magic Find, or if you're playing on normal monster power level 10 and you have 5 stacks of Nephilim Valor, then you'll get up to 475% Magic Find, which is a shitload at the cap. It's not for farming Inferno, that's why the gear is so cheap. But you know, for normal Nightmare and Hell, there's still good items that you can find, which I'll talk about at the end of the video, I guess. And this is really for that. So this is going to be an in-depth look, and it's really good on normal. And yeah, let's get to it. Alright, so the requirements are that you're level 60, preferably Paragon 7, so you can get to that cap, or higher, and you'll need 2.5 to 3 mil. Just depends on how much things cost on the auction house. Now, you can pause this at any time, this screenshot that I've taken, the table that I created. It's all the armor I bought, the price of each thing that I bought, and any must-buys, any things that you have to have, and the Magic Find boost it's going to get you. Now, the helm, it's got to have a socket, and you're going to put a perfect topaz in it, which will get you an extra 21% Magic Find, and then because you already have 20% Magic Find on the helmet, that's going to get you 41%, which is a good way to kick things off. The chest, I actually wanted to spend a bit more money. It was only going to cost me like 30k, but ended up spending 90 and getting a much better chest with much better stats than that. It's got to have 3 sockets, really, that's what you want. That'll be 20% Magic Find. Then the belt cost me 15k, 20% Magic Find, you don't really need that good stats on that. The pants cost me 30k, and they don't have any sockets in them. You can buy ones if you want to, but mine didn't really need it, and they got 20% Magic Find. The gloves, 15k, got some attack speed on them as well, 20% Magic Find, pretty straightforward there. Same with the shoulders, they were really cheap, the shoulders. Now the two expensive things about this is the rings. They cost around 400k each if you want perfect Magic Find on them, the 20% on each. And I decided to go for a socket in each so I could put some more topazes in them and get my intelligence up, so I'm just doing more damage, because you really do need, I guess you don't need a heap of damage, but if it's only going to cost you, 150k more and you're doing a bit more damage, then it'll help you, especially if you want to run through on Hell, not just normal. The amulet, the max is 45%, but I just go on for 44, for 75k. You can pick him up for above 40% for like 30k. But I wanted some decent sort of stats on them, so I spent 75. I wouldn't go any more than 100k for that amulet. Now the gems, assuming you've ran through Inferno and you've got some gems and tomes of whatever the hell, the Tome of Secrets, that's it. Then they only cost 30k to make each of them. So I had 5 perfect topazes, sorry about that, and 1 amethyst, whereas you can change that however you want, but you do need 1 topaz at least to get that 21% boost. And for all that costs 1.2 mil, which is really cheap. Now these are the options after this, which will get it up to around 2.4, 2.5 mil, but I decided to leave them as optional. Now the boots, you can get boots with 20% Magic Find for a lot cheaper, but I got Firewalkers. Now the reason I did this is they're 700k if you want them with 16% Magic Find. That's what I bought them for. Who knows, you can get them for cheaper, I'm guessing, it really depends, but that's how much I bought it for. And because they create fire, like a molten effect on the ground, and it damages enemies, on normal, if enemies run into you at all, they're just going to die straight away. You can literally do the run without even attacking people, so that's why they're actually really good, and 12% movement speed is a must on those. The braces, the Lacuna Prowlers, they have 12% movement speed as well, If you want 19% Magic Find on them, it's around 400k plus. If you want 18, it's 300k plus at the moment. So they're really good, and you need them because they have the movement speed. Together, those two combined, for an extra mil or so, the 24% movement speed is a must. Now the Templar, your follower, you want the Templar, and you want to gear him up as much as you can. 2 rings, a shield, and an amulet. I'm going to go into an in-depth talk about him in a minute and the gear that you'll want to get for him, but I got a boost of 19% from that, which for a total is around 2.4 mil, just a little bit over if you add it all up, and 278% Magic Find, which is really, really good in my opinion. Now I'll go through the Templar next. Okay, now onto the Templar. Should cost around 100k to gear him up. If you want to do more, you can, but personally I didn't find the need to. The shield with 20% Magic Find only cost me 25k. The rings with 19 and 17% Magic Find cost me 30k and 20k respectively. Then an amulet, only 25k for 42% Magic Find. Now all these can be blues. You do not need to boost the stats of the Templar unless you really want to, because I have no use for doing that with a follower. I don't really need them to be killing. They're going to be one-shotting everything anyway, so will I if people just walk into me, so it doesn't really matter. The weapon I did not buy. I did not spend money on the weapon. I don't really think you need to. On Inferno, if you're running around and you see a one-handed hammer or a mace or an axe or whatever, a sword, and it's decent, I know some two-handed weapons have Magic Find on them. I don't know if one-handeds do, probably do, some legendaries, I'm not sure. But just get him a decent one-hand that you pick up on Inferno when you're running through. It doesn't really matter, and just give it to him. That'll do a decent amount of DPS. That equals 98%. Now, you won't get 98% Magic Find from that. You only get 20% of that, so you divide that by 5 and you get 19.6% Magic Find. I don't know if that rounds up or down, so I'm assuming it rounds down, and basically that adds 19% Magic Find to whatever you had beforehand. So from this we have 225%. That's how much I got when it cost me 1.2 mil, I think. And then the extra 53% with the Templar, the boots, and the braces, the Lacunis and the Firewalkers, which equals 278% Magic Find, which, as you can see, we're only 22% off the limit. Depending on what you buy, if you wanted to buy slightly higher Magic Find or whatever, I went for stats as well, so it got me 278. That means you only need a Paragon level of 7 to get you to the 300% Magic Find cap, which shouldn't take too long to get. Even if you have 278, it's only 22% more, and as you're leveling up, you're going to get it anyway. Not that much of a big deal, but the game's been out for long enough now where a lot of people who are higher level than me, and I'm only 11, Paragon 11, because I don't play that much. So yeah, you don't need that high of a Paragon, but that'll get you to your 300% Magic cap. Now we're going to look at the stats changes. Alright, now you can pause the video and look at this. I'm not going to go through too much. These are all the stats before and after what I had on my gear. They have changed again for my good gear, but this is all unbuffed, by the way. No passive skills, any skills or anything. The key things: the intelligence dropped by 500 from 2k to 1.5k. Vitality stayed the same pretty much, didn't drop too much. The armor didn't drop that much at all either. The DPS though goes from 74k to 29k, which is a lot, but if you're playing on normal, even Monster Power 10, they're just going to run into you and die, so honestly it doesn't matter. If you want to keep that probably above 25k, it's all good. And that 29k on Hell, I did a few test runs, and you can, even champion packs, yeah, kill them in probably 2-3 seconds, so it doesn't really matter anyway. The attacks per seconds drops from 1.92 to 1.64. Crit hit chance goes down a lot, but the damage doesn't go down much. This is based on the gear that I bought. Gold Find goes down to 50%, around 50%, and Magic Find goes from 80% to 300%, so that's what the key thing. Your health goes from, mine went from 31k to 25k, so it doesn't really matter that much. My Arcane Power actually boosted. That'll be different for Fury and all that kind of stuff on the other classes, Spirit and all that. but movement speed percent stayed the same because I already used the Lacunis and the Firewalkers anyway. And just lastly is a screenshot of the auction house, all the things that I bought, well not all of them, but the main gear. In case you didn't believe the prices and whatever I bought them for, you can actually just look, go full screen, and yeah, that's so I don't get any comments saying this is bullshit, budget guide, build, whatever. Alright, sorry guys, one more thing before we wrap up. Weapons and offhands, I did not change it from the gear that I normally use. That way you're still doing a lot of damage, and it won't really matter. If you had a shield that can get you to an extra 20% magic fine, then you would only have to be Paragon level 1 to get to the 300 cap, because you'd be on 298%. But ideally, you want to keep the same weapon and offhand that you use, whether it's 2 weapons, depending on your build, or if it's a source and a staff like I have. Yeah, you don't really want to change that at all. You can if you want, but if you just want to keep that damage up high, especially if you're going to be on hell on that, then don't really change that, and you shouldn't be, that shouldn't cost you anything if you are already using previous gear. So yeah, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, if it helped you out at all, please give it a thumbs up, possibly a favourite if you want to refer back to later. If not, it's all good. Subscribe if you want to see more D3 videos. Yeah, it's enough plugging myself. I'm going to have a link in the description probably to the next video that I upload, which will be an actual example of farming on normal, to go for Leoric Signet, which is worth from 30 to 100 mil they go, from really about 35 mil. And I got one yesterday, only about 7 hours in, but I had a heap of other legendaries and rares, which this build was perfect for, and this guide that I just did is for that farming route. It's specifically for that mainly, but it applies to all other routes as well. So yeah, there'll be a link in the description eventually if you want to see that. So yeah, if you can click that. Otherwise, thumbs up, subscribe, whatever. And remember, prices of things will change over time. Just remember the date of this video in case things do change. But yeah, other than that, I hope you all enjoyed, and have a good day, guys.